Good morning and happy Friday. This is the Big Agent Meeting. I am your host, Russ Laggan, and today we've got a show lined up for you. We're going to kick it off with Ian Wheatley, one of our newly minted manager of KGCI Radio. This guy is doing some amazing stuff, and if you guys haven't heard about KGCI Radio, it's time for you guys to learn all about that. So we're going to have a session with him. Then we're going to talk to Chief Learning Officer Bryon Ellington. He's got a couple of new things that are coming along and reminders of stuff that's coming down the pike that you guys need to be aware of and you need to see. And then I cannot wait to watch the interview between Bryon Ellington interviewing Julie Nelson. She has got some amazing stuff up her sleeve. She's an amazing person, an amazing realtor, and somebody you're going to want to learn some stuff from. So get a pen and pencil and paste a piece of paper along because you're going to be making some notes as she's rocking and rolling through this stuff. So with that said, let us just get right into it and talk to Ian Wheatley, manager of KGCI Radio. If you guys haven't met Ian, here he is right now.
Ian. Hey, Russ, how's it going?
Did that sound at all like a radio intro?
Yeah, you do a good job. I'll be honest with you. You might if this whole VP of growth thing doesn't work out, you know, maybe you can try your hand at radio.
You got to have a plan B. I think my plan B before that was to do voiceovers for the Fat Albert show.
You know, here's the thing: voiceover work. Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker has made probably more money doing the voiceover work than he ever did being Luke Skywalker.
Amazing stuff. So what's new? What's new with KGCI Radio?
Yeah, I mean, the fun part about KGCI is the audience has been very responsive to this radio station.
Good.
And what's lovely about that is, you know, they roll up some pretty good ideas and they'll say, hey, you know, we're looking for X, we're looking for Y, we're looking for Z. And so one of the things that we're doing here over the next couple of weeks is we're launching out a couple of new tentpole programming features on KGCI Real Estate on Air. We're going to start folks weeks with mindset and motivation. We're calling it you know, your motivation and mindset Monday, right? So everyone to get everyone in the right headspace to start the week. And then one of the things that really was great from the audience was they wanted content on specific areas. And when we're now at this point, we're pushing 60 hosts on KGCI Real Estate on Air.
Wow.
We can go deep, right? I mean, a couple weeks back, we put 60 straight hours on the air of all things marketing, right? And so now we're launching the Focus Friday, or the Friday Focus is what we're calling it, where we're just going to kind of drill down on a couple key areas, right? So today, happening now on KGCI Real Estate on Air, obviously we're streaming BAM there, but at the conclusion of BAM, we're going to be resuming our new agent jumpstart. Next week, it's all going to be about scaling your business. And then for the Independence Day, something that's near and dear to my heart and my wallet, we're diving deep on real estate investing.
Oh, I was going to say how to blow up a deal. That would be a great topic.
I mean, it's one of those things where I always laugh because I'll talk with agents all the time that aren't buying their own investment properties. And I'm perplexed, number one. But number two, you know, I built my production business. The backbone of that business was real estate investors as a guy who was a real estate investor prior to being an agent, right? Yeah. So, you know, there's a walk you got to walk, there's a talk you got to talk, and we'll be walking agents through it all, and you know, also educating them on how they can also leverage real estate in their portfolios.
Yeah. So you're talking about this group. By the way, interesting that you're saying they're being responsive. Like, I would never think that you could actually interact with a radio station and control anything aside from like you dial 800 times and you're hoping to be that ninth caller, you know, so you win the free tickets to Cedar Point or whatever it is. But aside from that, like, who's listening to KGCI? Like, who are these people?
Yeah, I mean, you know, so we're talking to real estate pros, right? It's by our real estate professionals for our real estate professionals. So far, more than 30,000 agents across 6 continents. So far, we have no listening in Antarctica. Bummer. We'll get there. But yeah, we got more than 30,000 agents across 6 continents that I've either listened to the stream live, right? Or they listen on demand with our podcast, right? So we've got our podcasts are available at realestateonair.fm, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, anywhere you listen to podcasts, right? You can find us at KGCI Real Estate on Air. And for the smart ones that have subscribed, right, they're getting the updates every single time that we push something to them. So every single time we're publishing, you know, half a dozen to a dozen podcasts every single day, right? Wow. There's a lot there. There's a lot of content that's right there on people's phones.
Outstanding. So this is top agents, new agents, everything in between, and pretty much any brand too. So if you're not with EXP, fine. Like a bunch of this conversation is not branded at all. It's
Correct.
literally about real estate agents selling more houses and doing better deals,
Right.
living a better life, right?
Right. And when we're talking about the top agents, right, if you're looking at some of our, if you look at our roster, if you go to realestateonair.fm and you hit on the trusted host section, right, you're going to run through the roster of who's on the air. And a lot of those names are also the top producing agents in North America, right, US and Canada, right? There are some big names on there. And so why wouldn't you want to learn from those top agents, right? Many of whom are also on with Bryon Ellington here on BAM. Julie Nelson is on in a little bit. Julie Nelson is on KGCI Real Estate on Air. And we also got BAM on KGCI, right? So there is a lot of big power that's coming through that station 24/7, 365.
And would you say the majority of it is more entertaining, or the majority of it is training, or educational, or like what kind of flavor are we talking about here?
It's infotainment. It's infotainment, right? It should be right. The good what I strive to do is to make, because I come from, in addition to my production background, I come from a talk radio background, right? And so if we don't have a situation where people are entertained, it's not going to resonate, right? So there is entertainment value to what we're doing, in addition to making sure that these agents are getting tactical information they can implement in their businesses.
Yeah. Interesting. So what would you say, I know I'm going to put you on a spot here. You ready?
Right away.
What's your favorite show so far that you've run through? Like, one you're like, dude, that one blew my mind, or that was just funny, or what's your favorite?
I'll tell you, because I don't think I'm sharing anything out of turn, but because I shared this with Nolly Williams, who's on KGCI, right? And there were a couple little tidbits. I was just kind of, this was before the station had launched, right? And I'm going through and I'm engaging in the content, and there was just a couple of things he said that I was like, ooh, that's brilliant. And then, I implemented those two things. Inside of 2 weeks, I had 2 listings, right? So, wow. I mean, it's right. It's wild, right? It's absolutely wild. So I would say of my favorite shows, I mean, I would say, Nolly's probably up there. Carrie Sauvé and the information that she's putting out about AI is unfreaking real. Okay. Yeah. And it being some practical information that we can all implement in our businesses. I mean, there's a lot, right? I could probably, I got 60 plus hosts at this point. I could probably go down the entire roster and tell you every single one about why I really love that podcast. And, I know Shelby Johnson's got Real Estate Rock Stars. That's been a real estate podcast that's been around for ages. And, that one always is near and dear to my heart as well.
Awesome. So if somebody says, hey, I've got some awesome stuff and I think it's valuable, how would they, if they were wanting to contribute, how would they do that?
Yeah, they could just hit us up at info@realestateonair.fm. Being an EXP agent, right? I'm in the EXP ecosystem, right? So folks can find me at Workplace relatively simply.
Okay, absolutely fantastic. So, hey, I'll tell you what, man, interesting stuff. One last thing I want to leave with is, again, where do they find this? realestateonair.fm. They can scan this QR code here, right? It'll bring them to exactly what we got streaming today. And if the live radio stream is something that's a little tough for them to do at any given moment, they can listen to KGCI literally everywhere they listen to podcasts. Absolutely. So for me, I finally got hooked on Spotify, and I go down a bunch of rabbit holes, and now it's making recommendations. And by the way, KGCI Radio is on one of mine. So I put one of those things on now, pop my earbuds in, and I go for a walk because I'm trying to turn my fatness into fitness. And I'm walking more. So KGCI Radio is part of my playlist now for when I'm walking and working out. So
it's a perfect way to use it.
All right, Ian, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you stopping by. And by the way, congratulations. It's going well. I love that you've done a great job with this.
Thank you.
All
appreciate you.
There you go. Ian Wheatley, KGCI Radio. If you guys haven't checked it out, check it out. Apple Podcasts, hit it on Spotify. Make sure you subscribe too, so it'll let you know what's coming up and what you might be missing out on. Some awesome stuff in there, some amazing people that I'm proud to actually know one-on-one, a lot of them, and they're just amazing people. So with that said, next up, Bryon Ellington again. Bryon Ellington on Fridays, showing up every Friday. Come on down, Bryon.
Hey, good morning, Russ. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. This is becoming regular, man. People are going to start talking.
I know, man. My wife's going to get jealous. I think I spend more time with you on Fridays than I spend with her sometimes.
That sounds like my house.
Yeah.
All right. So what's going on? What's new these days for you?
Well, we had Holly and Lauren on last week talking about the new updated buyer forms that we have for EXP agents.
Yep.
Folks, this is going into effect in about 6 weeks is when the new NAR statutes are going to take effect. For many agents, it's already happened in their MLS. So I just want to remind everybody, we put out Winning Buyers, EXP University course for you. You can go on to expuniversity.com and find it there. That course is going to walk you through scripting for setting the appointment, how to go through a buyer consultation. As an industry, we kind of got away from that when the internet leads came in and made it to where people just wanted to see a house real quick. So if you've not really perfected your buyer consultation, if you've not yet gotten your materials ready or your scripting around how you're presenting your needs analysis, how you're presenting your value to that needs analysis, and then how you're closing for the buyer rep agreement, that's a great training program. It's very quick. A lot of great scripts that you can make your own, a lot of great strategies and tactics from our top agents as well. Yeah. Also too, team leaders, June 19th, that's next Wednesday, is the second inaugural team mastery call. Now, this is our monthly third Wednesday of the month call that we do for team leaders. This time around, we're talking about hiring and onboarding great, talented staff to your business. And here's the question I asked, Russ. If you agree with this statement, we talked about this last time, that every business is going to rise or fall to the level of talent within that business, then my question for you is, what's your proven process for attracting, selecting through, hiring and onboarding great talent to your business? And if your answer is, I don't know, or I kind of wing it, or I ask a few questions, but I don't really have a process, come to that call. We've got Dave Kennord and James Nellis, who are going to walk you through their hiring processes to give you a sense of what they do, give you some great cheat codes, some great strategies and tips. And then after that, we're going to put you into breakout sessions, team leaders, by production level, so that you can talk with other team leaders about how they're doing things and get a lot of great ideas, get a lot of your questions answered there. So that's next Wednesday at 12 noon Central. And team leaders, you have an email in your inbox. And yes, we did send it this time around to your working email, not just your exprealty.com email. So it should be in there. If not, hit me up, team leaders. I'll help you out. But be there for that call. It's amazing. Yes, we do record it, but only for those people who register and show up. So be there. And then Russ, going along what Ian was saying, so I don't know if you've seen with KGCI, we've been focusing on helping agents with fast starting their business, right?
Yes.
This is a big focus for us in the university as well. So July 2nd, we are doing Kickstart. Now, if you're not familiar with Kickstart, it's a 6-week program. We're going to cover mastering client communication. We'll talk about vision and goal setting, lead generation essentials, marketing your brand, conversations that convert, build your future business. Those are the various topics across the 6 weeks. We've got masters of their craft coming in those sessions to share how they do these things so that you can learn from them. And that's going to be July 2nd. And again, go to expuniversity.com to sign up for it. It's part of being with us, no additional cost. This is a great class to help you kickstart your business, hence the name Kickstart.
Good.
Yeah.
By the way, I want to make sure other people know too, that's not just for new agents. If you're an experienced agent, there's a lot of times where you got to just kind of pull things back apart and go, okay, do I have the foundation right? Get the foundation smoothed out and then just get back to doing your thing. So a great course to reorient people and go, I got to get back to that too. So experienced agents and new agents can both benefit from Kickstart.
That's exactly right. And by the way, my experience is that we all get into a kind of rut in our business, especially if you've been in it for a few years. Yes, a class like this that's really going to help you kind of reframe, rethink how you're doing things, and really dust off your database and get after it. That's a powerful motivator. Hey, speaking of which, we are about to kick off next Monday, the 17th. Those of you who are part of the pilot registration, buckle in. We're going. It's Monday the 17th. We're going to start FastCap. This is a great productivity program, really designed to help you buckle down, get your business built and launched quickly. This is for both new and emerging agents as well. and it is a productivity training program, not an education program. We're going to work in this one, and we're going to get results from it too. I'm pretty excited about that. And so speaking of which, so I had this great quote, and I wanted to share it with you. So this is Winston Churchill, and what he said was, "Continuous effort, not strength nor intelligence, is the key to unlocking our potential." Continuous effort. And the question is, okay, continuous effort, doing what? Ever walk into the gym for the first time and stare at the equipment and go, okay, I know how to do this, but how do I put it all together? What's my routine? What's my workout routine?
Yes.
So go for it. Buddy.
You got a direct tie to this too. So I just saw a quote by MMA guy Dana. What's that guy's name? Dana
White?
Dana White, and Dana White said,
"He stole my look, bro. I'm so mad about that. He stole your
look." Listen, you follow amazing. I mean, that's all you do, right? But it was interesting because he had a quote that went along with that. And I know this will tie to you because I know you did some sparring and fighting. He said that it's not about strength, it's not about power, it's about knowledge and technique. And that's why jiu-jitsu, you can take it through the rest of your life. You can have a 100-pound girl at 16 years old take down a 220-pound man. It's not about strength, it's all about knowledge, it's about technique. I thought, wow. And that directly ties to what we do in real estate, aside from the physical contact.
Well, hopefully you're not doing that in real estate.
The new buyer stuff, you never know. There's going to be some moves.
Well, that's exactly right. It's strategy and technique. And what are you doing on a consistent basis to get better? And so I asked a friend of mine to come join us today, Julie Nelson. So here's a fun fact. Julie and I have known each other for, I don't know, going on 2 decades. And she was my, I'll jokingly say, my guinea pig. Anytime that my team was building training, I would come scratch on Julie's door and she would help put it on and pilot it for us. So it's nice. Great to have her here talking about this topic. So without further ado, could we bring on author, agent extraordinaire Julie Nelson to come share with us today?
Amazing.
Hey, Julie, how are you doing?
Good morning.
I'll get out of you guys' way. I'll see you soon. Julie, you are amazing. Can't wait to see what you do here. See you guys.
Thanks,
Russ.
Yeah.
Well,
and Bryon,
morning,
I think
Julie.
you're right. Couple decades.
Yeah.
Go back.
You haven't changed a bit. I, on the other hand, maybe a little bit. How are you doing?
Good. And I'm happy to be your guinea pig anytime.
I'm happy fun. You've been happy to be my guinea pig for so long. And thank you for all you've done for me. So first off, I want to mention this. Julie's book is called Success Faster, On Fire, Hot. Hey, look at you, got a copy too. What a coincidence. What a coincidence. So if you don't know Julie, let me just share kind of my perspective. And then Julie, I'll have you introduce yourself. You have, I'm going to guess, taught thousands of agents coming into the industry about how to get serious about this business, how to get off to a great start in it. And that's how I know you, but share a little bit with the folks about who you are as an agent and an author.
Okay, sounds good. So I've been in the business 25 years. August 1 is going to be 25.
Goes by fast, doesn't it?
I know, it's crazy. I'll have some kind of happy hour or something. I'll invite you since we live in the same town.
Right.
Yeah, so 25 years in the business. I've been with EXP for 7, going on 8 years now. Prior to this, I was with KW for 15 years. 5 of those, I was a director of training for the largest real estate office in the country, which happened to be down the road from you, and hence I could be your guinea pig for various things, which I was happy about. So at any given time, I would have between 100 and 150 new agents in my program. And when I left that position, so I did that for 5 years. And then when I left that position, I wanted to help agents so much because I saw too many people struggling. And whether it was new agents or not new agents, I saw agents struggling. I'm like, how can I help? And so I wrote my first book, which really was kind of version 1 of this book. A couple of years later, I rewrote it because it could be better. It's kind of like building a house. The way to build
you did an addition.
you have to build it twice, right? So it's like write a book and then rewrite it a couple of years later. But the book is really designed, and I speak from personal experience. I'm an active agent, and I feel like I have hit the reset button on my business so many times in those 25 years. Sometimes for various reasons, sometimes because of a market shift, you do a reset. Sometimes because something's going on personally in your life, there's a reset. If you change a brokerage, it's a reset. If you go from solo to team or from team to solo, that's a reset. Sometimes the reset's just up here. Like if you get burned out and you need a fresh start, it's a reset. So if you look back over your career, and whether your career is, X number of years, and we can all do this. You could do this as well. It's like, wow, look at all of these kind of reset, relaunch, restarts. And it can be it's a beautiful thing. So like if you're not having fun, if you're not making the money that you want, if your anxiety or stress is just a little too much in the driver's seat, those are all invitations for you to take one step back, kind of reevaluate, reset, and then move forward in a better vehicle, if you will. And sometimes we are the vehicle, right? Physically, emotionally, mentally, we are the vehicle. And sometimes we need to put that vehicle in the shop for a little bit, do a little refresh, maybe a paint job, a little oil change, and then get that vehicle back on the road. So that's a little bit about my background in the book.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right about all of that. And also, I'd add in sometimes the market makes you reset. So what's happened over the past couple of years is we went from a glut time of, good time to be in real estate. Everything's selling well above. You got tons of buyers coming in for every property. So you got your next clients and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden you look up, and last year was one of the worst years in per person productivity in this industry ever. Worse than 2008, worse than 2009. When you go do the math, like 2008, 2009, we went from like 5 to 4 deals per person in the 2005, 2006 timeframe to down in the 3s, right? And everybody back then was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? I can't get a deal, and blah, blah, blah. Last year, it was in the 2s when you do the math, in the 2s. Yeah. So when we talk about resetting, sometimes the market just forces you, and look, you don't get to better until you get to different. So whether you're a new agent or you are an experienced agent, if you really want to catapult your business forward, you really want to get your productivity going again, this is a great conversation for you. So when Julie and I were talking the other day, you shared about your DOR. What is DOR, Julie?
Yeah. So it's your daily operational rhythm. So let's take this back one step, okay? And I want you to think about, like, Bryon, one of the main topics Bryon has been talking about for weeks now in EXP University is winning the buyer. Okay, it's a great place to be in this market. Every single one of us should be sharpening those tools. Okay.
Yeah.
But I would argue that there's something to win the buyers. There's something even more fundamental to that. And that is what I would say winning the day. And I believe that this daily operational rhythm, your DOR, I believe this is one of the key differentiators between the top producers and the not in the industry, is that the top producers have made peace, have made peace with this, have made peace with this daily rhythm, have made peace with, or have mustered up respectable consistency with the discipline of getting the basics done every day.
That's right.
Okay. So your daily operational rhythm, and here's part of the beauty of our industry is when you used to have a full job job, and you would drive to the office and you would be, in your office for 8-9 hours a day, you were expected to be on task for 8 hours a day. In our industry, this core activity can, in most cases, be boiled down to 2 hours a day of you being focused and disciplined. Now, I am highly skilled at chasing shiny objects. Okay.
I think a lot of us are.
Yeah, a lot of us are. If there's a squirrel over here, I'm going to see it, right? But so even if you're in that, oh my God, I'm a highly distractible human being category, can you focus and be disciplined for 2 hours a day? You can.
Of
You
course.
can.
And by the way, what a great job to have, that really, if you focus just for 2 hours a day, life is good for you. Tell me what other job your boss or your employer is going to be cool with that kind of work.
Oh, exactly. Your friends will be jealous. It's like, wait a minute, you have to be really good 2 hours a day, and then the rest of the day can kind of float. It's like, well, kind of. And we say generate business and deal with business, right? And those are two categories, if you will, operationally of what we do as successful real estate people. I wanted to piggyback on your Winston Churchill quote, and because I wrote this down. So kind of this continuous effort. Okay. So I want you to think about this, and this is totally old school, but I like if you're visual, you're going to like this, but it's such a great tool. Get a 30-day calendar. You can print one off of, Google somewhere, or buy one at the grocery store that has, mountains or puppies on it, right? The flip 30-day calendar, put it on your wall, and you can have a simple code. You could either use a number system or a color system. So color would be like green, yellow, red, or blue. Blue is personal, meaning I took the day off. So please incorporate that into your mix, right? If you use a number scale, you could do like a 1 to 5 or a 0 to 5, meaning I was solid with my 2 hours this day. Okay. Now what's going on in those 2 hours? I could tell you a lot of what is not going on, but what is going on? Here's the simplest version of it. You are working on or nurturing your database sphere lead pipeline, period. It's the phone calls, it's the emails. It's not working on a new marketing campaign. It's not placing ads. It's not checking your email. It's not posting on social media. Now there's little pieces there.
Direct
If any of that stuff can,
sort.
exactly. Now, a lot of that stuff can, if it can immediately generate an opportunity for a decent conversation, then we can work with that. But are you 2 hours a day? And here's the deal. The top agents in this industry simply have built more consistency around that. So if you do this 30-day calendar, and you could either do the color code, or you could do the 1 through 5. Yeah. Okay. So you're rating yourself every day. So if I was your coach and we had done this for 30 days, that's all, and you literally just showed me a 30-day calendar, and I'm either seeing the numbers or I'm seeing the colors, either way, I can predict the health of your business and probably your level of stress and anxiety, where it is on the scale, based on what I'm seeing on that, just on that visual. Are there a bunch of greens and yellows? Yellows are going to be, sometimes there's a red, meaning the day just went off the rails and I didn't get it done. It's like, okay, welcome to life and business. It happens. The blue needs to happen. The blue is I took the day off. I didn't do it today. I took the day off. It was family day. The green is 2 thumbs up. I nailed it. And the yellow is I did okay. Maybe I did half of it, or, but I did okay. I made some progress. I feel okay about that, because we're going to have some yellow days as well. This builds grace into the process as well.
Yeah.
I like to say 2 hours a day, 4 days a week, 3 weeks out of the month. Let me say that again. 2 hours a day, 4 days a week, 3 weeks out of the month. Here's why I say that. most agents, those of you that are watching that are listening, if you were to do that, it would dramatically increase what you're already doing.
That's right. That's right. Top agents are going to be more focused and probably spend more time. But for the vast majority of folks, that is going to be a level up from where their current activity level are. And what you're really describing with this calendar is a dashboard. It's a scoreboard of your activity level.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
And
so the Winston Churchill quote was awesome. It's continuous effort. Well, there's a tool to help you track that. You may not have to track it for 8 months in a row, but if you tracked it for 2 or 3 months in a row, it's kind of like going to the gym, when going back to the gym, if you will, or getting restarted on an exercise program or a diet. If you really track it solidly for 2 or 3 months, you've probably, it's effective to hit that reset and get into the habit.
And this is an important point. So in FastCap, we talk a lot about setting habits, right? I don't care if you lead generate for a week, big deal. What I care about is if you're creating a consistent habit of lead generation over the course, because that's going to lead to stability and growth in your business, right? And to your point, lower stress and anxiety. Here's the question about habit building is if you look at both bad habits and good habits, they have kind of an inverse thing. And that is your bad habits have an immediate reward, but they have a long-term consequence. Think about eating chocolate cake or smoking cigarettes for those of us who grew up in the 80s or whatever the case, right? Immediate great feeling of bliss when you're eating that chocolate cake. Just when you keep doing that too much later on down the road, there's some consequences. Good habits have that inverse effect. They have it oftentimes an immediate cost, but long-term benefits. Think about exercising, eating well, things of that nature, right? You don't get the pleasure spike of eating the chocolate cake from a salad, but long-term it has benefits. So then the question becomes, how can you create short-term rewards to reinforce that good habit? And things like your calendar are those kinds of dopamine hits. And it's a silly game to play with yourself, but it is the game to play with yourself, right? Yeah. I know it sounds weird to say it out loud, but having those immediate rewards for yourself to be able to say, check done, I did that. And focus on the reward of the activity versus the reward of the result. That's a key piece there.
And try this. Here's a life hack with it as well. If you have school-age children at home and you're doing this calendar, show them what you're doing and why. Okay. Now this is super valuable during the school year for the kids, because you're holding the kids accountable to all sorts of stuff school-wise during the school year. But if you show your kids what that is and what you're doing, you just gained the fiercest accountability partner ever, because that child is going to expect it to look good. Right? Because you told them, well, and especially if you tell them, I'm doing this, so as a family, we can do that, right? You build in a little family reward, and you just gained a really fierce accountability partner, because during the school year, you're asking your child and expecting your child to like have consistency with their schoolwork and their focus and their discipline. And so you're really doing the same thing, and you're leading by example in your business. So I would encourage you to do that. If you don't have children, find a realtor partner, accountability partner, and kind of do the same thing. And maybe once a week, just snap a photo of your calendar to your accountability partner. It's like, here's what mine looks like. Will you help me hold myself to having it look better next week?
Your mentor, your sponsor, your team leader, your broker, or somebody that you can rely on to tell you the truth as a running partner. I love that. So a brief second ago, the team showed your document that we're giving you were generous enough to share with everybody the Daily Operational Rhythm document. And by the way, it's in the chat if anybody wants to grab it. Can we talk about that 2 hours? What am I doing during that 2 hours, Julie?
Okay. So number one, you have permission to modify this for yourself, but be careful, because some of you, that is the shiny object. The shiny object is that you want to modify the heck out of it. So I would encourage you to just get started and you can modify later, right? You know who you are.
Yeah,
You know
I might be one of those people.
Talking to you. Okay. So some basics. So if you look at it, there's different sections. So there's like a market section, there's a follow-up section, there's a question section. So like in the market, as a real estate professional, every single day, we should all be basically checking the hot sheet in the MLS. And maybe you're checking your neighborhood, or maybe you're checking your listings, or maybe there's a certain zip code that you watch really closely. Anything new on the market? Did things go pending? And sometimes that's just a really quick check. And sometimes you dive into it a little deeper. If you find yourself going into, if you will, kind of an intensive like CMA because you went that direction, be careful. Just set a timer. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I really do want to run this CMA. That's possibly a distraction from what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to set a timer for 10 or 15 minutes. I'm going to allow myself to do that. And then I'm going to come back to my 2 hours. Okay. So I'm just holding myself accountable. I time myself. I set this timer so many times throughout the day. It saves me usually from the shiny objects. So you're checking the MLS. Another thing on the list is, and I know you teach this in Fast Track. I'm a huge fan of this, is every single day, and these literally can take just a couple minutes to do one CMA every single day.
That's right.
One CMA. Right. I could pull up one zip code and just a certain price range in that zip code, active, pending, sold, and hit enter. And literally, you can do that in 30 seconds. And I'm looking at that one just quick, simple, easy CMA on my screen.
And you know what I like about that? It gives you three things when you do that. One is market knowledge, right?
Yes.
You're answering the question of what's going on with the market in this area, and that's a very useful piece of information. Two, it gives you something to then go share, which is even more useful. And three, it gives you a sense of who should I go share this with? Who do I know that lives in that zip code? Who do I know that I can reach out to who wants to live in that zip code?
Exactly. Yeah. So here's what's key with every single CMA there, you're going to do two things. And it was items 2 and 3 of what Bryon just mentioned. 2 is, I'm going to post something on some social about that quick CMA. I might even jump on Facebook and say, hey guys, I run one market analysis every single day. And I just happened to run XYZ this morning. And I wanted to share one interesting statistic with you, and boom. And then like, I'm going to ask a question. So I'm just kind of working on generating some interesting dialogue on socials with that information. But with that CMA, I want to make one phone call with that CMA. Now, if I can make 2 or 3, even better. Okay. But at least I'm going to make one phone call. Who do I know that would be interested in this data? And it's so simple. It's like, well, who do I know who lives in that area? Or who do I know that's interested in that area? That's all. Shoot. And sometimes I may call another realtor. Hey, I know you do a lot of work in this area. I wanted to run something by you. Here's what I'm seeing. What are you seeing? Well, that's just generating more market knowledge. And I'm going to find someone to call. Hey, I wanted to share this with you. This has to do. And what I would do then is I would text my friend who lives in that zip code. And I'd say, hey, I just ran a report on your area and I want to share something really interesting with you. Do you have a quick second? That's my text, right? To my friend who lives in that zip code. And they're going to say yes, or they're going to say, cool. Hey, yeah, can you call me in an hour? It's like, sure. Anyway, so it's generating a conversation because you may want to write this down. I literally, if you were looking at my display on my desk right now, so my screen here, I literally have sticky notes all on the bottom of my screen, right? And one of them, and I'll pull it off right here, but this is, here, I'll even stick it on my forehead. And I have this in my book. You may want to write this down, but this is your shortest job description in real estate. Okay. So your shortest job description. And the reason I have this on a sticky note is to remind myself every single day of what my job is. I am in the business of having conversations with people about real estate. It's exactly what this says.
As
Now you
simple
can
as
say,
it
you can even
and
put
as
your name
true as
on
it
it. Yeah. I'm in the business of having conversations with people about real estate. So what if you woke up every day and when you sat down at your desk, you said, okay, who can I have a conversation with today about real estate? And
That's amazing.
this is what we're doing with those 2 hours. We're having conversations with people about real estate, or we're figuring out easy and simple and authentic ways to generate those opportunities to have conversations with people about real estate. The more conversations you have, here's a math formula for realtors. The more conversations you have, the more money you're going to make. The fewer conversations you have, the less money you're going to make.
That's right. And
So
here's the simple
making
truth about
enough,
business.
if you're not making enough, if your income's not high enough, I would challenge you to double or triple the conversations that you're having.
That's
and
right.
then call me in a month and tell me what happens.
Well, I mean, here's the truth of our business, right? We have a 100-day sales cycle, more or less, right? And that's dictated by financing for buyers and things of that nature. And so there's very little that we can control in terms of shortening that time. There's some things we can do, but that time is a pretty set thing. So the question is that time starts ticking once you have a ready, willing, and able buyer or seller. So then the question is, how long does it take you to generate that ready, willing, and able buyer or seller?
Yes.
And think about, October 1st, which is about 100 days from today. What do you want that to be? What kind of day do you want to have that day? Do you want to be sitting in a title or escrow office closing deals? Well, that really necessitates you kind of focusing today and being kind to your future self. And I love your checklist and of the kind of things that you should be doing. It's very simple. It's not complicated. And one really leads into the other and helps you, to your point about doing these CMAs. Now you no longer have to worry about what am I going to say when I call this person. Now you know exactly what to go say. Talk about the market.
Yeah.
Julie.
Can I know we're short on time. I want to throw one quick fix in. And there aren't a lot of there are not a lot of quick fixes in this industry, but here's one.
Yeah. Okay.
If you have not had a closing recently, or if you feel like your juju is off, okay. I'm going to recommend that for 7 days in a row, you go preview 5 properties each day. And then you're going to post something about it, and you're going to call someone about what you've done or saw. Okay. You might even call a friend and say, hey, I was touring property today, and I was reminded of that awesome pizza place by your house. Come have pizza with me. Okay. That's a legit call. Okay. But here's why this physical activity of previewing 5 properties a day for 7 days in a row is critical. It's because of the kinetic energy that it creates.
Yeah.
In your brain, the cells in your body believe all of the information that you feed it. So if your juju is off, trust me, we're human, right? Your body is following cue. So we need to create kinetic energy to kind of get you back into the game. And then you're teeing yourself up to have the right energy to build some consistency with that DOR. So take responsibility for that energy and give yourself just kind of that quick fix of getting back into the game and getting your juju back on track.
I mean, that's Isaac Newton, right? Bodies at rest tend to stay at rest. Bodies in motion tend to stay in motion. So get in motion. Yeah. Julie, thanks so much for sharing. Thanks so much for sharing this document with us. If you have not downloaded it, go grab it from the chat, please. It's an amazing tool for you to focus for 2 hours, 4 days a week. Come on. This is a great life. Go live it and go succeed in business. Julie, as always, my friend, thank you.
So fun. Thanks, everybody.
Wow. That was amazing.
Thanks, Russ.
Love it.
Thank
All right,
you.
there you go. Julie Nelson knocked it out of the park. And what I love about this is real people talking about real stuff, guys. Like, this is your time to take that business. Like, find that minimum thing you can do that you can move the ball. And I love the way she's talking about tracking too. I've always been a big fan of tracking, because if you don't track it, you don't really know what you're really doing. So love a lot of those tips. Replay that one. if your business isn't going well, just replay that one and just do what she told you, and your business will start taking on a new life over the next 60, 90 days. Pretty amazing stuff. All right, before we end today, I've got one last thing here left. Horizon 2024. This is an exciting new thing that we've just put together recently with some incredible stuff coming with Horizon 2024. Join us at the Pendry Hotel in Newport Beach, California, on July 15th and 16th for an experience filled with powerful insights, connections, and conversations. This is open to anyone in the industry. This is brand agnostic. If you're in the real estate business, show up for this one. Why should we attend this? Our very own Leo Pareja and Wendy Forsythe will be keynote speakers alongside fellow leaders, Ben Kinney from Place, Emily Paquette from Inman, Tim Heil from Homeward, Tyler Smith from SkySlope. Each and every one of these people, amazing humans and amazing business people all the way across the board. And I love the texture and the context that they can bring coming from such different backgrounds here. Registration for this event is going to sell out fast. Scan the code on your screen right now and register. The deadline to register for the event is July 14th. The deadline for exclusive pricing and perks at the Pendry Hotel is June 24th. So you're going to want to get on this puppy now. Closing this thing out, it's like, just don't miss this. This is a great opportunity for you to learn and connect to fellow realtors and be able to change your business and have the influence from amazing leaders across the board. All right. So with that said, if you guys like this show today, give us a rating on a scale of 1 to 10. Pull out your phone, grab your phone, open that puppy up, and you'll have the ability to see the QR code. Type in there. Give us a rating on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being the best, and said we knocked it out of the park for you. It was good. And by the way, also add a comment if you'd like. Let us know what we're doing well, what we need a little bit of work on if you find something, or make a suggestion. Happy to have suggestions come in also. We look at these every Monday morning and go over it. And by the way, thank you for the ones that make funny comments. Always make us giggle on a Monday. So thank you for that. And with that said, I'm going to leave you with one last thing. I want to say personally, congratulations to all the agents in EXP that hit Icon last month. We're going to finish this off today with a video recognizing icons, and then stay tuned for iConversations coming up next. See you next week.